This is the Retirement Key Podcast with Abe Abish, founder of Abish Financial Services.
And I'm Heather Branch here with Abe, talking about ways to help you prepare for your financial future. TheRetirementKey.com is where you can go to begin your own conversation with Abe and the team at Abish Financial Services. We also have links posted in the show notes, or you can, again, find us anytime at TheRetirementKey.com. Abe, for everybody else listening to us on the radio right now, it is the weekend, and how dare I bring up the idea of professions and things that we do on the 9 to 5. However, something that we probably don't emphasize enough, we have these conversations every single week on the radio, so it can get breezed by, is the notion of why you do the work that you do. What brought you to this place where you decided you wanted to be a financial advisor and retirement planner for a living?
Yeah, Heather, great question. So why I do what I do really stems from my past and how I grew up. And I grew up in a strong Christian faith-filled home in Shirlington, Virginia, Arlington, near the Pentagon. Always had a roof over our heads, but grew up with very little financial means. As an example, my father's side is from Lebanon, then they moved to Cuba, then they came here, so education was pushed. My father has 2 master's degrees, part of a PhD program done.
Wow.
My mom was educated as well, but not on finance and investing and saving. And as an example, we rented in Arlington instead of owning a home back before the boom, back before Shirlington became a little village and a little town. So there was some opportunities that were missed, and I know my parents did the best job they possibly could, and they did an amazing job with my brother Josh and I, believe me, but always had little financial means. Like my mom clipped every coupon out of the Washington Post, every Sunday that it came. So that was the type of financial household we grew up in. And 20 years ago when I got into this business, I realized that, and I saw some of the things we went through, my brother and I, and my parents. And I said, you know what? Number one, I need to make sure my own family's taken care of financially. And I personally want to help as many people that I can retire with dignity and confidence. And so that's Abish Financial's mission as well now. Our company mission is to help people retire with dignity and confidence. Our clients don't play the lottery, or if they do, it might just be for fun. They're not trying to play the lottery to win it.
Everybody loves to scratch it when you stop for gas, Abe.
Exactly. But our clients work hard, and that's what I mean. And they don't win the lottery and retire. They work hard for 30 to 40 years and sock it away and doing everything they can. And so I really relate with that. And that's why I do what I do. And that's why our company does what we do, to help people retire with dignity and confidence.
Well, and I know for folks that have come to you and work with you, the appreciation and gratitude is so immense, because it's the work that you do has become so much more important and relevant, because what it is to plan for retirement now is so chaotic and complicated. It used to be the 3-legged stool, right? It was Social Security, savings, and pension. Yep. And you would have a happy 15-year retirement. And now we're talking about, let's get 6 different streams of income that you have to build yourself for your 30 to 40 years of retirement.
Yeah, the onus and pressure is on us now. Money doesn't come with instructions.
Yeah.
So people need guidance, especially transitioning into retirement. Very little advice and guidance out there on this phase.
And that's what we are here to help share. The advice, the guidance, giving you some structure in your own plan, helping you figure out all of the rules that you have to figure out on your own, and throwing it back to one of our original founding fathers to get into this conversation today, Abe, because it was Benjamin Franklin who once said, the only 2 things you can count on in life, it's very famous, you know it, death and taxes. That's it. Yep. Someone later, though, said, well, that may be true, but at least death doesn't get worse every time Congress reconvenes. And that is such a real moment. So the tax laws, of course, are constantly changing, and going into retirement in a low tax bracket with tax-free money is a plus and a goal for a lot of us. But what's the downside then of going through retirement with perhaps all of your savings in a 401k, which I imagine a lot of people enter into retirement with that setup?
Of course, Heather, more people than not have all their money saved and on the pre-tax side of a 401k or TSP, because we believe that one of the biggest myths of retirement planning is that when you retire, you're going to be in a lower tax bracket simply because you may have lower income in retirement. But for people in the DC metro area, they know better. And a lot of people and a lot of our clients have more income in retirement than they did in their working career with fewer deductions. So oftentimes we'll see, that next door millionaire, middle American millionaire come in with somewhere between $1 million to $5 million. And almost all of it's pre-taxed. They just socked it away in their 401k plan and didn't look up until they were 50 and realized, oh, wow, I got $1 million now or $2 million. And, I'm about to retire, Abe and the team, but I just realized that, now I'm thinking about protecting and preserving a lot more. And I just realized that a lot of this money's pre-taxed, hasn't been taxed yet. And if the tax code changes and I have fewer deductions, I could be looking at more money coming out of my life savings for taxes and going to Uncle Sam and the state than may be necessary.
Right.
So, Heather, we just had a couple come in to the office and called into the show originally, and they're from Frederick, Maryland, and they have about $1.5 million saved. They're a 5 on our risk scale of 1 to 10, so middle of the road, next door millionaires. They're in their mid-60s, working till about 70 years old, and that was their main problem, is that they had all that money saved, at 1.5 million saved in pre-taxed accounts.
Okay.
Concerned about taxes going up and eating into their nest egg. And so that was their main problem, main concern. So the solution for them, after going through their entire retirement plan and that concern with taxes, was to run a tax mapping report and analysis to find out, okay, guys, how much income do you have coming in? Where is that in your current brackets? And do you have any room to start doing potential Roth conversions? And also, what are the options available at your workplace plan? So we found out that the gentleman has a Roth side of his 401k that he didn't even know about. A lot of people don't know that in the TSP and a lot of 401ks, you not only have the pre-tax side of the plan where you can get that tax deduction now, but you have the post-tax side of the plan too, where you won't get the deduction today, but any money you're putting in will grow free of tax forever. Right? So you either pay taxes now or pay it later. So we recommended contributing to the Roth side of his 401k. And then after we ran the tax numbers and the tax mapping analysis, we found out that we can actually start converting $50,000 a year over from his pre-tax dollars into the Roth. And so that may not take care of all the tax issue on all of his life savings, but it's a start. Right. And so that was all done by he and his wife coming in for a second opinion, getting these numbers tested and getting the math run, finding out where they are, if they can retire, and then finding out they can retire. But now that you can retire and you do have enough saved, what can we do to preserve and protect this life savings as much as possible?
Right.
Tax risk is one of the biggest risks we'll have in retirement, one of our biggest expenses in retirement. So if you sound like this couple in Frederick, Maryland, and you're concerned with taxes going up and impacting your life savings, your nest egg you've just worked so hard for, go to theretirementkey.com. Click on the Contact Us tab at the top of the page, and we can begin to have these same conversations with you as well.
Want to remind you that we also have links in the show notes to the website. So if you're listening to the podcast, you can just click on those links. It will take you to our website that way as well. All right. Death and taxes, we know those are a sure thing, but when it comes to the market, if there's anything that's opposite of death and taxes, is it the market, right?
Yes,
the
exactly.
most unsure thing. In the past, if the market was going up, it was a sign that the economy was in good shape. And that might not actually be the case anymore, Abe. Financial analyst Eddie Gabor was telling Fox Business that the two are no longer connected.
The market is in a period right now where it is continuing to buy dips and ignoring the fundamentals. This is why we continue to be cautious regardless of what happens in the market here over the next few months.
Have you changed the way that you're looking at the stock market? And if that's not your basis for planning, then what is?
Yeah, good question, Heather. Coming off of 2022, with the markets being down 15 to 20%, we were very defensive and conservative coming into 2023. I don't know how you could not have been, right? After 15 to 20% losses on the major markets. But with rates raising, you just asked, are we taking a different approach? Are we doing anything differently? With rates rising 11 times, here's an example over the last 18 months, there are great opportunities out there on the yield side, right? So a couple of years ago, you weren't able to make anything on cash or CDs or money markets or anything, safe bonds, everything was in between 0 and 2. Now you can get, 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5, upwards of almost 6% guaranteed. So there are a lot of opportunities. There's always opportunity, even in the middle of uncertainty, even in the middle of volatility. You look at the COVID year when, man, what a mess. We were just trying to find toilet paper, let alone manage our retirement plan, right?
We'll never look at toilet paper the same way anyway.
I know. What a crazy time. But there were opportunities that year, and the markets ended up the year up, 20%. And some companies did amazing that year. I mean, you look at the DoorDashes and all the online companies of the world that did so well during that shutdown. Always opportunity in the middle of, any environment. We just had a couple call into the show and drive in nearly 2 hours from the Eastern Shore each way to come into the office and get a complimentary second opinion,
Wow.
Heather. And so they are concerned about the markets, also concerned about taxes. And so what we did for them as they came in, the husband has all of his money in a couple 401k plans, is we did an investment analysis and, Morningstar and Riskalyze analysis on all of their investment holdings so that they can understand what are they invested in. Right? You shouldn't be making any decisions on your finances and retirement plan until you understand what you have. What do you own? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it neutral? Does it cost you too much? So we did that portfolio X-ray and analysis for them. And what we found out, you talk about making potential changes. This couple has $1 million saved. They're middle of the road investors. They're a 5, retiring in 2.5 years. And they wanted to know, are we okay? And is what we own and are invested in okay? And it was okay. Right. But here are some things they needed to know. So they want to be a 5 on our risk scale of 1 to 10, middle of the road. We found out that they're actually invested as a 7. So they're that classic 70-30 split, right? 70% stocks, 30% bonds. But we also found out, since all of the life savings is in 2 401ks, the fund expenses are high and the expenses are approaching 1% in the 401k plan without advice and guidance.
Got it.
And so actually for this couple, as we made a recommendation and we gathered all the information, went through the entire plan, then made a recommendation, we showed them how our all-in retirement planning fee for the year was under 1% and just slightly more what they're paying in their 401ks without the advice and guidance.
Wow.
This was eye-opening for them.
Yeah.
So the solution for them was that portfolio X-ray analysis, that complimentary second opinion on everything. And that's, as we were going through everything, he was saying, Abe, this is why I'm here. This is why we're here, right?
Yeah,
check that box, check that box. This is why we drove 4 hours to come in and get a complimentary second opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't that be worth it to you just to make sure you're on the right track, just to make sure that you can retire with added dignity and confidence? So if you sound like this couple that just called in and came into our office from the Eastern Shore and you want that portfolio X-ray and analysis, that complimentary second opinion on your entire portfolio, just go to theretirementkey.com. Click on the Contact Us tab at the top of the page, and we can begin to have these same conversations with you as well.
And remember also that we have links in the show notes. If you are listening to the podcast, just click on the links that we have posted there, and it will take you to the website that way as well.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Key Podcast with Abe Abish. To learn more about Abish Financial Services, visit theretirementkey.com and join Abe for his radio show, The Retirement Key, Saturdays at 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 2 p.m. on WMAL.
Investment advisory services offered through Abish Financial Wealth Management, LLC, number 310633, a registered investment advisor firm. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Abraham Abish is licensed in your state, please call 571-577-9968. Abish Financial Services is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Abish Financial Services, Inc., Virginia Insurance License number 127820.